ladies and gentlemen. My friends, we live in a world where noise is mistaken for wisdom, and motion is mistaken for progress. We are told to think endlessly, to speak often, and to scatter our attention across many tasks. But let us pause and ask, does this bring us peace? Does this bring us mastery? The mind is a powerful tool, but like any tool, it must be used wisely. Left unchecked, it can become a source of suffering, entangling itself in endless cycles of worry, fear, and distraction. When a person lacks control over their thoughts, they become a prisoner of their own mind. Their energy is drained by overanalyzing the past, anticipating the future, and creating problems that do not even exist. To live with peace and purpose, one must learn to govern the mind, shaping thoughts with intention rather than allowing them to run wild. There is no use in replaying past mistakes over and over again. What is done is done. The past holds no power except the power we give it through our thoughts. Regret changes nothing, and guilt, when prolonged, serves no purpose. If something needs to be corrected, correct it. If there is a lesson to be learned, learn it. But once that is done, release the past. Holding onto it is like carrying a heavy stone everywhere you go. It slows you down and serves no purpose. When the mind is consumed by what has already happened, it becomes blind to what is happening now. The past is a place to visit only briefly, never to reside in. Likewise, the future is uncertain, and no amount of worry will change that. People waste days, months, and years imagining outcomes that never come to pass. They create suffering in their minds over things that do not exist. What if this happens? What if that goes wrong? But all of this is a trap. The future is shaped by the actions of the present, and the only logical response is to focus on what can be done now. There is a difference between preparation and obsession. Preparation is wise. It allows one to act with intention. But obsession with the unknown is foolish. It weakens the mind, creating anxiety where clarity should exist. The strongest individual is not the one who never faces uncertainty, but the one who embraces it, knowing they will deal with whatever comes. Many believe they are thinking when in reality they are simply reacting. Their thoughts are driven not by reason but by emotions, external influences, and unchecked impulses. If someone insults them, their mind fills with anger. If they see others succeed, they feel envy. If they hear bad news, they spiral into fear. But a mind that is controlled does not react, it responds. It observes emotions without being ruled by them. Instead of becoming angry, it questions, why does this anger me? Instead of becoming jealous, it asks, what can I learn? Instead of fearing, it analyzes, what action can I take? By doing this, the mind ceases to be a servant to emotions and instead becomes their master. Controlling thoughts is not about eliminating emotions. It is not about suppressing feelings or pretending to be indifferent. It is about choosing which thoughts deserve attention and which should be dismissed. Just as one would not allow weeds to overrun a garden, one should not allow negative or useless thoughts to overrun the mind. A person does not need to believe every thought they have. Not every worry is justified. Not every assumption is true, and not every impulse should be followed. The ability to step back and question one's own mind is the mark of true wisdom. The modern world makes control over thoughts even more difficult. Endless distractions pull the mind in every direction. Social media, constant news, and the opinions of others flood the brain with unnecessary information. People are conditioned to react instantly, to form opinions without reflection, and to seek validation from outside themselves. But a person who controls their thoughts does not allow external noise to dictate their internal state. They are not swayed by every passing trend, nor do they allow the opinions of others to shape their sense of self. They choose what to engage with and what to ignore. They are selective about what enters their mind, just as they are selective about what they eat or drink. The disciplined mind understands that thought is a tool, not a master. When thinking is necessary, it is used with precision. When thinking is unnecessary, it is set aside. A person who controls their thoughts knows when to analyze and when to simply experience life. They do not spend their days caught in endless internal dialogues. They do not waste time imagining conversations that will never happen or creating problems that do not exist. Instead, they act, they live. They direct their energy toward what matters. They understand that the mind should be sharp and clear, not clouded by unnecessary noise. It is not intelligence that brings peace, but mastery over one's own thoughts. A person may be highly intelligent yet still be tormented by their mind. A wise individual, however, knows that intelligence without discipline is a curse rather than a gift. The ability to think must be paired with the ability to stop thinking when it serves no purpose. Only then does the mind become an ally rather than an enemy. Words are powerful. They can build or destroy, heal or wound, inspire or discourage. Every word spoken carries weight, yet many speak without thought, unaware of the impact their words have on others and even on themselves. A person who chooses their words wisely understands that speech is not simply about expression, it is about influence, clarity, and self-mastery. Those who speak carelessly often regret their words, while those who speak with intention rarely do. Many people talk simply to fill silence, believing that constant speak signifies intelligence or confidence. But this is a mistake. The wise understand that words are like a valuable resource, best used sparingly and with purpose. When one speaks too much, their words lose value. When one speaks too quickly, they risk speaking in ignorance. Instead of rushing to respond, one should pause and reflect. Silence is often more powerful than speech. Those who control their words gain the respect of others, while those who speak without thought often lose it. It is not enough to speak. One must know why they are speaking. Is it to add value, or is it to seek attention? Is it to share wisdom, or is it to feed the ego? Many talk for the sake of talking, filling conversations with empty words that serve no real purpose. But speaking merely to be heard is a waste of energy. Every word should serve a function, whether to instruct, to comfort, to clarify, or to inspire. Idle talk drains the mind and weakens the spirit. The one who chooses their words carefully finds that they need fewer of them. There is great discipline in restraint. It is easy to speak in anger, to argue without thinking, or to lash out when emotions run high. But words once spoken cannot be taken back. Many conflicts arise not because of deep problems, but because of deep problems. In a moment of frustration, one may say something that lingers in the mind of another for years. What is spoken in haste often brings regret. But a person who controls their tongue does not fall into this trap. They understand that responding with patience is far more powerful than reacting with rage. Speaking wisely does not mean speaking in a complicated way. Many believe that using big words or complex sentences makes them sound intelligent, but true intelligence is in simplicity. The greatest truths are often the simplest ones. A wise person does not try to impress with words, but instead seeks to communicate clearly. If speech does not bring understanding, then it serves no purpose. Clarity is more valuable than cleverness. A person who truly understands something can explain it simply. Those who do not understand often hide behind unnecessary complexity. Words shape perception. How one speaks to others determines how they are seen, but more importantly, how one speaks to oneself shapes their own reality. The way people talk to themselves in their own minds affects their confidence, their emotions, and their sense of purpose. Many weaken themselves through negative self-talk, constantly repeating doubts and fears. They speak of themselves in ways they would never speak to a friend. But words, even unspoken ones, have power. A person who chooses their words wisely does not allow negative speech to take root in their mind. They speak with strength, with purpose, and with self-respect. They do not use their own words as weapons against themselves. Every conversation is an opportunity to practice wisdom. Some use words to dominate discussions, interrupting and overpowering others to assert control. But speaking the most does not mean one has won the conversation. Often the one who listens the most learns the most. A person who speaks with wisdom understands the value of listening. They do not rush to respond, but instead absorb what is being said, allowing themselves time to process and understand before they reply. Speaking is not about being the loudest voice, but about offering the most meaningful words. Gossip and unnecessary criticism are among the most common misuses of speech. Many find pleasure in discussing the faults of others, thinking that it elevates their own status. But those who engage in gossip gain nothing. Speaking negatively about others does not make one stronger. It reveals weakness. Words should be used to uplift, not to tear down. Criticism should be given only when it serves a purpose, never as a means of entertainment or cruelty. A person who chooses their words wisely knows that tearing others down does not build themselves up. They understand that words can either bring division or harmony, and they choose to use them for the latter. It is not always necessary to express every opinion. Many believe they must comment on everything, share every thought, and argue every disagreement. But there is strength in knowing when to remain silent. Not every argument needs engagement, and not every comment needs a response. A wise person knows when to speak and when to let things pass. Many conflicts arise not from real problems, but from the inability to let small things go. Resisting the urge to speak in every moment is a sign of control, not weakness. Choosing words wisely is not about saying less, it is about saying what matters. It is about speaking with honesty but also with kindness. It is about knowing that words carry consequences, and once spoken they cannot be undone. A person who speaks with intention, who pauses before they react, and who seeks to uplift rather than harm, will find that their words are valued and respected. Those who learn to master their speech will find that they are not only heard, but truly listened to. Distractions are the silent thieves of time, the subtle forces that pull people away from their purpose. They do not announce themselves with great urgency. Instead, they creep in unnoticed, disguised as harmless diversions. A moment spent checking a phone turns into an hour. A quick conversation about something meaningless stretches into wasted time. The mind, once sharp and focused, becomes scattered and restless. Those who do not guard their attention find themselves drifting through life, reacting to whatever pulls at them rather than moving with intention. To achieve mastery, one must learn to eliminate distractions, to reclaim control over their own mind, and to direct their energy toward what truly matters. The modern world is designed for distraction. Everywhere something demands attention: notifications, advertisements, endless streams of information. The mind is constantly pulled in multiple directions, making deep focus increasingly rare. But true progress comes not from being everywhere at once, but from being fully present in one place, fully engaged in one task. A person who cannot focus on one thing for an extended period will struggle to build anything meaningful. Scattered effort produces scattered results. Concentrated effort produces mastery. It is not enough to simply want focus. One must create the conditions for it. The environment plays a crucial role. A cluttered space breeds a cluttered mind. If the phone is always within reach, temptation is always present. If distractions are easily accessible, they will be used. The first step to eliminating distractions is to remove them from sight, to create an environment where focus is natural rather than forced. This is why great thinkers, artists, and leaders throughout history often retreated into solitude to do their best work. They understood that deep thought requires deep silence. In a world that constantly demands attention, one must create distance from the unnecessary to preserve clarity. The greatest distraction, however, is not external, it is internal. The restless mind is its own worst enemy. Even in moments of stillness, it searches for escape, craving stimulation, fearing boredom. The inability to sit with one's own thoughts leads people to seek out distractions, even when they do not serve them. Many turn to entertainment, to social media, to pointless conversations, not because they truly want to, but because they have not trained themselves to be alone with their own mind. But if one cannot be at peace in stillness, they will never master focus in action. To eliminate distractions, one must first confront their own restlessness, to break free from the constant need for external stimulation. Time is the most valuable resource, yet many waste it on meaningless pursuits. Every distraction comes with a cost, and that cost is time that can never be regained. A moment spent on something unimportant is a moment taken away from something that matters. Many complain about having no time, yet they do not realize how much they give away to distraction. It is not a lack of time that holds people back, but a lack of discipline in how they use it. Those who value their time guard it carefully, cutting away anything that does not contribute to their growth. They do not allow themselves to be pulled into every conversation, every piece of news, every fleeting form of entertainment. They understand that attention is power, and where attention goes, energy follows. The ability to focus is a skill, and like any skill, it must be trained. Many people have lost the ability to work deeply, to engage fully, to concentrate without interruption. They move from one task to another without ever truly immersing themselves in anything. But the mind, when trained, can develop incredible levels of focus. The key is to practice. Start small. Dedicate time each day to working without interruption. Remove distractions, silence notifications, and commit fully to one task at a time. Over time, the ability to focus will grow, and distractions will lose their power. The more one learns to concentrate, the easier it becomes to resist the pull of the unimportant. Distractions do not always appear as obvious temptations. Sometimes they disguise themselves as things that seem necessary. Constant planning, endless research, worrying about things outside of one's control. But these too are distractions if they prevent action. There is a difference between preparing and procrastinating. Thinking about something is not the same as doing it. Many people spend their time planning their goals rather than working toward them, seeking the perfect moment instead of starting where they are. But perfection is an illusion, and waiting for it is a distraction in itself. Action, even imperfect action, is the only way forward. There will always be distractions in life. The world does not become quieter, and temptations do not disappear. But mastery does not come from waiting for the perfect conditions. It comes from learning to focus despite the noise. A person who eliminates distractions does not rely on willpower alone. They design their life in a way that makes focus the default. They create habits that protect their attention, routines that keep them on track, and environments that support their goals. They recognize that every moment wasted is a moment they will never get back. And so they choose again and again to focus on what truly matters. Life exists only in the present moment. The past is a memory, unchangeable and distant. The future is uncertain, always beyond reach. Yet many spend their lives caught between these two illusions, either trapped in regret for what has already happened or anxious about what has yet to come. Rarely do people truly live in the now, embracing the present as it unfolds. But those who learn to do so find a sense of peace, clarity, and purpose that cannot be found anywhere else. To live in the present is to free oneself from unnecessary burdens and to engage fully with life as it is, rather than as the mind imagines it to be. Regret is one of the most common thieves of the present moment. The mind replays past mistakes, wishing for a different outcome, dwelling on choices that can never be undone. People waste time asking, "What if I had done things differently?" Or "Why did I make that mistake?" But this line of thinking changes nothing. The past is immovable, no matter how much energy is spent on it. To dwell on it excessively is to live in a world that no longer exists. Instead of looking backward with regret, one must learn from past experiences and move forward. Each moment wasted on regret is a moment taken from the present. A moment that could be used for growth, action, or appreciation. The only thing that can be controlled is the response to the present, and that is where focus must remain. Just as the past holds people captive, so does the future. Fear of the unknown keeps many from fully embracing life as it is. They constantly anticipate what may go wrong, what challenges may arise, what problems. Their minds race with questions. What if I fail? What if I make the wrong choice? What if things do not go as planned? But the future is an unwritten story, one that cannot be predicted with certainty. To live in constant worry about what is to come is to suffer needlessly over things that may never happen. The mind creates scenarios that exist only in imagination, and in doing so robs itself of the only moment that is real, the present. True wisdom lies in preparing for the future without becoming consumed by it, in planning with intention while still allowing life to unfold naturally. Living in the present does not mean ignoring the past or neglecting the future. It means acknowledging them without letting them control the mind. The past provides lessons, but it is not a place to dwell. The future requires direction, but it is not a place to live. The only place where action can take place is now. The only place where change can happen is in this moment. Everything that can be experienced, love, joy, challenge, growth, exists in the now. To be present is to truly engage with life rather than merely thinking about it. Distractions pull people away from the present moment. The mind is constantly searching for stimulation, jumping from one thought to another, one activity to the next. Rarely do people sit in stillness, fully immersed in the now. Even in moments of rest, they are elsewhere, scrolling through screens, lost in thoughts of what needs to be done next, reliving conversations that have already passed. This constant movement of the mind prevents true presence. Instead of experiencing life, people observe it from a distance, caught in a stream of thoughts that have nothing to do with the moment in front of them. But presence is a choice. It requires awareness, a conscious effort to bring the mind back to the now whenever it drifts. One of the greatest benefits of living in the present is a deeper appreciation for life itself. When one is fully present, even the simplest moments become rich with meaning. The warmth of the sun on the skin, the taste of food, the sound of laughter, all of these small details, often overlooked, become sources of joy when experienced fully. Gratitude naturally follows presence. When one stops worrying about what is missing and starts noticing what is here, a sense of contentment arises. Life is no longer something to chase, it is something to experience. Presence also brings clarity. When the mind is not clouded by regret or fear, it becomes sharper, more focused. Decisions are made with greater confidence because they are based on what is real rather than on imagined scenarios. Challenges are faced with strength because energy is not wasted on unnecessary worries. The person who lives in the present responds to life as it happens rather than reacting based on past wounds or future fears. They are adaptable, calm, and intentional in their actions. Many believe that fulfillment comes from achieving something in the future. They tell themselves, "I will be happy when I get that job. I will be at peace when I reach that goal. I will feel complete when I find the right relationship." But this mindset places happiness in a place that never arrives. When one goal is reached, another takes its place. The cycle never ends. True fulfillment does not come from reaching something in the future. It comes from learning to be fully engaged in the present. The person who understands this stops chasing and starts living. Living in the present is not always easy. The mind will resist, pulling toward the past or rushing toward the future. But each time it does, there is an opportunity to bring it back, to remind oneself that life is happening now. Every breath is a chance to return to the moment, to experience what is here, to embrace what is real. The past cannot be changed, and the future cannot be controlled. But the present, this moment, is fully within reach. And in it there is everything needed to live fully, to live wisely, to live well. True strength is not found in excess, complexity, or the constant pursuit of more. It is found in simplicity, the ability to strip away the unnecessary, to focus on what truly matters, and to live with clarity and purpose. Simplicity is often misunderstood as weakness, as if reducing things to their essence means losing power. But in reality, simplicity requires discipline, wisdom, and control. The strongest individuals are not those who complicate their lives with distractions, possessions, or endless ambitions, but those who know how to remove what does not serve them and concentrate their energy where it truly belongs. Many people believe that success and strength come from adding more possessions, more responsibilities, more complexity. But the more one accumulates, the more they are weighed down. A life filled with unnecessary burdens leaves little room for focus, making it difficult to see clearly and act decisively. Simplicity is not about doing less. It is about doing what matters most. It is about refining life to its core elements, ensuring that every action, every thought, and every decision aligns with one's true purpose. A person who simplifies their life is not weak or lacking ambition. They are wise enough to recognize that strength lies in clarity, not chaos. Discipline is required to embrace simplicity. It is easy to chase after everything, to constantly seek new distractions, to allow the mind to be pulled in multiple directions. But it takes true strength to resist the temptation of excess, to say no to what is unnecessary, and to remain focused on what truly matters. Simplicity is an intentional choice, a conscious decision to eliminate distractions and dedicate energy to what is essential. This is why some of the most powerful individuals, leaders, thinkers, and innovators adopt simple routines, clear principles, and focused goals. They understand that complexity wastes energy, while simplicity directs it. Simplicity also creates freedom. The more complicated life becomes, the more one is controlled by external forces. possessions, obligations, unnecessary commitments. The person who simplifies their life is free from these chains. They do not rely on material things for happiness, nor do they allow external noise to dictate their path. Their mind is clear, their actions are intentional, and their energy is not wasted on things that do not matter. This freedom allows them to move through life with greater confidence and purpose, unburdened by the distractions that hold so many people back. Strength in simplicity is also reflected in thought and speech. Many believe that intelligence is shown through complexity, using big words, making things seem difficult, speaking in ways that confuse rather than clarify. But true wisdom is the ability to express profound truths in simple terms. A great thinker does not need to use complicated language to prove their intelligence. They make even the most complex ideas easy to understand. The strongest minds do not hide behind complexity. They embrace simplicity as a tool for clarity and understanding. The same applies to speech. Many people talk excessively, believing that saying more gives them power. But words, like all things, lose value when they are overused. The strongest individuals do not waste words. They speak only when necessary, and when they do, their words carry weight. They do not engage in meaningless debates, gossip, or idle talk. They understand that strength is in precision, in choosing words with intention, and in knowing when silence is more powerful than speech. In actions too, simplicity is a mark of strength. Those who achieve the most are not those who complicate their lives with unnecessary effort, but those who refine their actions to what is most effective. They do not fill their days with endless tasks for the sake of appearing busy. Instead, they focus on the few things that truly make a difference. They understand that efficiency is not about doing more, but about doing what matters with greater focus. Their strength comes from their ability to cut away the unnecessary and move forward with clarity. Simplicity also brings peace. A complicated life is a restless one, filled with constant demands, distractions, and pressures. But a simple life, one built on essential values and clear priorities, allows for a deep sense of inner strength. A person who embraces simplicity does not chase after every passing desire, nor do they allow external forces to dictate their happiness. They find contentment in the present, focusing on what truly brings meaning rather than what society tells them they need. This inner peace is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of true power, the ability to remain steady and unshaken in a world that constantly pulls people in different directions. Strength is not in how much one owns, how much one says, or how much one does. It is in how well one can refine, simplify, and focus. It takes wisdom to remove distractions, courage to resist excess, and discipline to remain committed to what truly matters. Simplicity is not about lacking, it is about having exactly what is needed, nothing more, nothing less. Those who master simplicity do not struggle with unnecessary burdens. They walk through life with clarity, purpose, and an unshakable strength that comes not from complication, but from the power of living simply. The greatest battle a person will ever face is not against others, but against themselves. True mastery is not found in controlling the world, commanding others, or seeking external power. It is found in mastering one's own mind, emotions, and actions. The strongest individuals are not those who impose their will on others, but those who impose their will upon themselves. To master oneself is to develop discipline, to control impulses, and to align thoughts and actions with a higher purpose. It is a lifelong pursuit, requiring patience, awareness, and relentless effort. The first step in self-mastery is control over the mind. Thoughts shape actions, and actions shape destiny. An uncontrolled mind is like a wild horse, running in every direction, never reaching any destination. Those who allow their thoughts to wander without direction find themselves at the mercy of their emotions, reacting to life instead of directing it. But those who learn to master their thoughts develop clarity, focus, and inner strength. They do not let fear, doubt, or negativity dictate their path. They observe their thoughts, recognize their patterns, and choose which ones to follow. They replace weakness with strength, confusion with purpose, and chaos with order. Emotions, too, must be mastered. Many people are ruled by their feelings, allowing anger, fear, or desire to control them. They react impulsively, making choices they later regret. But self-mastery means responding, not reacting. It means understanding emotions without being controlled by them. It does not mean suppressing feelings, but rather recognizing them, analyzing them, and choosing the most constructive response. Anger can be transformed into determination. Fear can be used as a guide for growth. Desire can be channeled into discipline. Those who master their emotions do not allow temporary feelings to dictate their long-term actions. Self-mastery also requires control over impulses. In a world that encourages instant gratification, discipline is rare. Many people give in to their urges without thinking, eating what they should not, spending what they cannot afford, wasting time on meaningless distractions. They chase short-term pleasure at the cost of long-term fulfillment. But true strength lies in the ability to delay gratification, to resist temptation, and to choose what is difficult but right over what is easy but meaningless. A person who masters themselves does not seek comfort above all else. They seek growth, knowing that true satisfaction comes not from indulging every desire, but from achieving what requires effort, patience, and resilience. Mastering oneself also means mastering time. Time is the most valuable resource, yet many waste it without thought. They spend hours on distractions, give energy to things that do not matter, and then wonder why they feel unfulfilled. But those who have mastered themselves guard their time carefully. They set priorities, eliminate distractions, and focus on what truly contributes to their growth. They do not let life happen to them. They take control of their days, ensuring that every moment is spent with purpose. They understand that mastery over life begins with mastery over the way they use their time. Another crucial element of self-mastery is consistency. Many people start strong but fade quickly. They set goals, make plans, and begin with enthusiasm, only to abandon their efforts when motivation fades. But true mastery is not about temporary bursts of effort. It is about sustained discipline. The strongest individuals do not rely on motivation which comes and goes. They rely on habits, routines, and unwavering commitment. They show up every day, whether they feel like it or not. They understand that mastery is built not in moments of inspiration, but in the daily repetition of disciplined action. Self-mastery is also about responsibility. Many blame others for their failures, circumstances, or unhappiness. They look for external reasons to justify their lack of progress. But those who have mastered themselves take full responsibility for their lives. They do not waste time complaining about what they cannot control. They focus on what they can. They do not wait for someone else to change their situation. They take action. They understand that their success, happiness, and growth are entirely in their own hands. They do not look for excuses. They look for solutions. Mastery of the self is not about perfection. It is not about being without flaws, never failing, or always having control. It is about awareness, about the constant effort to improve, to refine, and to strengthen. It is about learning from mistakes without being defined by them. It is about falling and getting back up, recognizing weaknesses and working to overcome them. The path to self-mastery is not easy, but it is the only path that leads to true strength, purpose, and fulfillment. Those who walk it may struggle, but they do not stop. They may stumble, but they do not surrender. To master oneself is to master life. The world will always be unpredictable, full of challenges, distractions, and obstacles. But a person who has mastered themselves does not seek control over external circumstances. They find strength within. They do not need the world to be perfect because they have built resilience, focus, and discipline within their own mind and character. They do not seek power over others because they have found the greatest power of all, the power over themselves. Self-mastery is the foundation of true strength, the key to a life of purpose, and the path to lasting fulfillment. The world will always be uncertain, full of challenges and distractions, but those who have mastered themselves remain steady, unshaken by external forces. They do not seek control over others or chase fleeting pleasures. Instead, they cultivate discipline, resilience, and clarity within. The journey to self-mastery is not easy, nor is it ever truly complete. It is a lifelong pursuit, requiring constant effort and self-awareness. But those who commit to this path will find that the rewards are far greater than any temporary victory. They will move through life with confidence, free from the grip of fear, impulse, or doubt. They will act with intention, speak with wisdom, and live with purpose. True power is not found in possessions, status, or control over others. It is found in the ability to govern oneself, and when a person masters themselves, they no longer need to chase success, happiness, or fulfillment. Instead, these things become a natural result of their discipline, focus, and unwavering commitment to living with strength and wisdom.